Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Andrew Patterson, as for Season 1, Episode 1 of The Sopranos. Now, believe it or not, I've never watched The Sopranos. I've seen clips, I've seen trailers, I've seen pieces of the show, as in a scene here, a scene there on YouTube. I know my friend Fabio's a big fan of the show, but I never actually watched the show because it's hard for me to watch shows nowadays, just time-wise. Very difficult. And I believe it was on HBO. I didn't have that at the time. And so I found it to watch, and I liked it. James Gandolfini, which I guess, from what I understand reading up, in this one he talks a little bit normal, but then later on he has a bit more of that thicker accent that you would see in other clips and throughout the seasons of the show. Because in this one, as Tony Soprano, he seems to talk a little bit like normal James Gandolfini. But like I said, I think, from what I understand, this was shot a year before the rest of the show. That's why James Gandolfini later looks a bit different, a little bit bigger, and again his accent a little bit more pronounced, so to speak. But I thought James Gandolfini did a good job for all the stuff I've seen. May you rest in peace. And the setup seems like to take on the film Analyze This. There's Analyze This and Analyze That. But it's not a comedy show, but the idea of a mobster having to go to a psychiatrist. And there is humorous stuff in it. And the stories that he's had panic attacks. He doesn't want anyone to know it because he's a New Jersey mobster. And just all the craziness in his life. He's got a wife and kids, but he also sleeps around a lot with other ladies. He's got an uncle who, he's called Uncle Junior, who kind of resents Tony, doesn't like the fact he's getting so big, get up in the ranks. Tony Soprano's also got a mom who doesn't really listen to him much, and they're trying to get her into a nursing home, but she gets more and more pissed off about it. I gotta take Ma. I don't want it. No, it wasn't a cake. It was a CD stereo. What's that? I don't want it. Ma. And with the psychiatrist, he can't really tell that he's a mobster, so he says, "Oh yeah, I met this guy, we had coffee." "Oh yeah?" Meanwhile, really, he chased the guy down, hit him with his car, while this cheery song is playing in the background. Hits the guy with his car, beats the shit out of him, punches him in the leg multiple times in the face. Although it's done with like 50 people watching, so it makes me wonder how the fuck he's not in jail. Because there's like 50 witnesses that saw the car and what he did. So I'm a bit confused as to why he did that in such a public place. Because again, it's a very public place. He beats the fuck out of the guy. Like, there's 50 people watching. And like, no one... That never comes back into play, like all these witnesses, eyewitness accounts. You would think they'd be a bit more secretive and when they chase a guy down. But I do like, he's just beating the fuck out of the guy's leg multiple times. And like his family, in particular his wife, there's some humor there. Like the daughter's trying to sneak back in, and the wife doesn't know what's outside, so she comes out with like an AK-47. So is Jimmy in the lot. "What do you think you're doing? What the f..." She doesn't say, but "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" I mean, she comes out with a fucking AK-47. I mean, some of the scenes that Tony Soprano has with his ma is pretty funny. "Oh no, you think I'd answer the phone in the dark? Why don't you answer the phone in the dark, Ma? Okay? Answer the phone's an auditory thing. Be in the dark is a... It's just him trying to explain to his mom, who's... she doesn't seem she's all there. And also this motif, which I don't know if this motif goes further into the show, but of these ducks in the pool, he feeds them, he loves them, they fly in, but then when at one point they all fly away, he gets very sad, and that causes the panic attack. And you're wondering what the hell is this about? But then it comes into he thinks maybe his family will leave him. I'm thinking, then stop sleeping around and stop fucking other women. If you're worried about that shit. If you're worried about your family leaving, don't fucking sleep around with other women. There's also the subplot. I can't really say I got really interested in the subplot about the Uncle Junior wants to kill someone, and Tony's like, no, no, oh, don't do it at this restaurant. No, I need to do this restaurant because that's where the guy's at. No, don't do it at this restaurant. But that, I guess, goes into play because by the end of the episode, Uncle Junior even talks to Tony Soprano's mom and says there's something wrong with this guy. Maybe he needs to be taken care of, which that'll lead to, I'm assuming, more stuff. You also have this guy Tony Soprano calls his nephew, kills someone, which seems like he wasn't really supposed to. I don't know if repercussions of that come into play, Goodfellas style. And then the guy's an idiot. I'm gonna sell my story to Hollywood. And Tony Soprano threatens him. I would say it seems like a decent enough show. The whole Goodfellas type of mentality. I like Goodfellas. James Gandolfini definitely is the star of the show. The whole dichotomy of going to psychiatrists but then also going through all this stuff. It does result in some pretty decent bits of humor throughout it. Yeah, it doesn't seem that bad of a show. Doesn't seem that bad of a show. I don't really have a whole lot of issues with it. The theme song, woke up this morning, na 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 na. I do remember that song because that was a lot of times people would parody and they would always use that piece of music. I'm trying to think. I mean, no, there's not really a whole lot of stuff I really hated. Again, just that one point that confused me, like they're beating the fuck out of this guy in broad daylight with like 50 people around, but no one says anything about it or cops. Like, that's a shitload of eyewitnesses. Or again, you're worried about your family leaving you, then why the fuck are you sleeping around on her? Maybe you should stop doing that. Then maybe you wouldn't worry so much. But I mean, what do I know? I don't know. Maybe either have the uncle deal with the restaurant or the one nephew hidden someone. I guess putting all that together, I don't know if either one got as much fruition as it could have. Because okay, the kid, maybe that's supposed to come into play later on. That's why it's hard to review this because shows like this is definitely one evolving story. So maybe stuff I complain about is something that gets mentioned later on. So that's why it's hard to really complain. Maybe that's why I don't have a lot of complaints because if I do, there might be something that's already tackled on later on. And it's like, oh well, that was stupid for me to complain about it. But yeah, overall, not a bad show so far. I mean, I liked the pilot. With that said, rest in peace, James Gandolfini. I've seen him in other stuff. I liked him. He was the warden in a film called The Last Castle with Robert Redford. He was in a film called Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen. I liked him in that. Yeah, anytime he popped up, I always thought he did a really good job. Talented actor. Could be a force of nature, intensity, and definitely see why he would be the choice to be Tony Soprano. I think that's definitely would be the thing that really is the high spot, the highlight of the series is Gandolfini as his character. So, and it was also funny watching it again, and so not again, but watching it. It's not watching, but watching it in retrospect, I should say. The fact that so many years since that came out, because there's a scene where someone goes, "Wow, these laser discs, they're so great. These laser discs are incredible." I'm like, laser disc? Wow, that's a time long gone. The laser disc. Well, who am I talking? But I just thought it was funny. I love the laser disc. So again, that made me chuckle. I'm sure probably now it's not meant to be funny, but I just, in retrospect. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Forget about it.